Welcome, Solar here. I hope you guys are doing well today. I am here to give you your new moon in Leo Tarot Astrology Ascension report. I hope you're feeling in the midst of a lot of heaviness also. I hope that you're able to connect also to the levity of the season, the joyfulness, the playfulness, the liberation themes that are actually ringing very loudly through a lot of the fuckery and attempts to kind of dampen that reality. I hope that you are able to tune into that, especially as we move into this new moon. At the time of recording this, I'm recording this on Saturday, August the 3rd, so just a few hours, less than a day out from the new moon in Leo that is happening at 12 degrees. And I've been looking back at the astrology from this year, remembering where I was during the full moon in Leo. I remember there was a lot of timeline collapsing. I was going back to some of my SUBSTACK articles I wrote at that time to kind of get a feel of what was happening and what I was feeling, what I was writing about. And there was, through the new moon in Aquarius, a new lease of life that started to become real for many of us. And when I say a new lease of life, I'm not talking about materially speaking. I'm talking about etherically, mentally, emotionally, the ability to shift based upon all of the collapsing timelines that actually came through the full moon in Leo. That happened, I think it was January 25th. It was a very big time of collapse. And that was to bring us to where we are today with the new moon in Leo, happening. Very interestingly, we've entered into the month of August, which is the 8th month in the Gregorian calendar year. We are moving towards what we call the 8-8 portal, but this year it's the 8-8-8 portal because 2024 breaks down to 8. So we're entering into the 8th month in a number 8 year, moving towards the 8-8-8 portal, and the new moon is happening as we progress towards that energy. Now, the 8-8 portal is always a significant time. It's a significant time of energy transference, if we're to be completely frank. It's the time when you get your solar codes, your solar return, what it is that you need to replenish yourself for the year ahead, as well as what Earth herself needs to replenish herself, herself, as well as what we need to be giving to her, because we are connected to the Earth. So what it is that we create, we channel into the Earth. The frequency of the Earth is made possible by what we're carrying emotionally and what we're creating from those waters. So the 8-8 portal aligns us with the codes that we need to replenish ourselves and the Earth efficiently. That's what it's supposed to be here for. It's been fucked around with a lot for personal gain, selfish, egoic purposes of manifestation. Manifest my best life. And if your best life isn't in accordance with universal law, and the principles that harmonize the earth and all organic beings, then it's not really a best life. It's just a fucking illusion. And that's the true story. So we're going to get into more of this now, because as if you know me by now, you know I got a lot to say about this stuff, and I'm a Leo sun too. So when Leo season comes around, I get fired up, and I'm already very verbose, but I become even more passionate because I'm here to fire you up. I'm here to help you tune into your true heart resonance, to help you return to yourself, to activate you back into your own internal power and wisdom, to help you rise again. That's what I'm here to do. So when my season comes around, I get even more hype. So on that note, I want to take an opportunity to welcome those of you here who are in alignment with my frequency. If you're not in alignment with my frequency, please go find those beings who you are in alignment with, not only for me, but for your own evolution. And because the whole point right now is to harmonize the earth. It's time for all of us to get in where we fit in and stop playing these energy games of going into someone else's space and then demanding or commanding that they change or condescend for us. Them days are over, okay? So go and find where it is that you're in alignment, not only with the information. This isn't just a mental connection. This is a heart connection. Find those beings who are informationally, intellectually, and from a place of heart wisdom resonating with you, and go and grow that beauty amongst them, instead of trying to pull other beings out of their sense of internal harmony. We all have something to do in this puzzle. We're not all here to agree. We are not. There is not one universal truth. There isn't. There is the beauty of harmony coming together and creating a universal truth, but that requires every single one of us to be walking in alignment with who we truly are. Okay? So you're welcome here if you are aligning, if you're in alignment with me. Okay? Welcome if you're returning. Welcome if you're visiting for the first time. Welcome those of you who've been rolling with me for a moment. Those of you who are coming over from Solara Speaks, from my Substack, from my original channel. It's so cool to connect with some of you who are like, I've been rolling with you since blah, blah, blah. And, you know, and to be able to hear you say that to me, or even to see you in the group settings, the group meetings I've been hosting recently, is just such a pleasure to meet and connect with those who my work is affecting. So I just thank you so much for being here and for rolling with me. Yeah, let's get into it. For those of you who are interested, I am doing my regular New Moon in Leo reading, hosted this time around by Deanie Peachel of the Starfire Codes. You can find both of our articles will be posted tomorrow on the new moon on Substack, for those of you who are already members. For those of you who don't know what Substack is where I write every single day about the energies. If you've been tuning into the Daily Alchemy community board and seeing my Daily Alchemy posts, I recently just introduced that here on the community board. It's on my Substack also, but I write in addition longer energy reports on my Substack that are also available in audio format. I'm taking a break until August 12th because it's my solar return week, you know, but I will be back on August 12th with the full presentation of sunrise salutations that happen every single day with the audio, as well as other, I do weekly energy, readings, sometimes in video or audio format. I collaborate with other poets and writers. It's just a beautiful place for me to go and express myself, and share with the collective my thoughts in writing. I am a writer. That's the medium through which I create a lot, which is why I also write to decrees, which, FYI, are still there for free. I decided that because so many of you were getting so much out of the decrees, and that I would just continue to put them on there for free or for donation. And I also realized that it was contributing a lot to some great shifts that the powers that were didn't want. So I was just like, yeah, bring it on, bring it on. So I have another decree that I will be uploading very specifically for this 888 energy, not the portal per se, but the energy right now we're in. Anytime the sun enters Leo, it's time to get your shit back. It's your solar return. You have one as a being on the day you were born, the day you entered into these earth planes, is your solar return, when the sun returns to where it was when you were born. And every year you get information and wisdom on how to conduct yourself personally for the year ahead. But the earth collectively goes through a solar return when the sun enters Leo, where we begin to get, like I said at the beginning, our codes back to help the earth and to further our own personal divine agendas. Okay, so let's get into this, because this information is so, the astrology is so interesting. For those of you who don't know how I roll with this, I'm not a classically trained astrologer. I read these energies. I use the chart to read the energies, but I read them using astrology, tarot, numerology, and channeling. Okay, so that's how I do this. So let's look at this. 4th of August, 2024, happening at 11:12 GMT, right? Greenwich Mean Time, happening at 11:12, which in and of itself is really interesting. I think wherever you are, it's happening at 12:12, an hour ahead of that. That's really cool also, because then you're in sync with that 12:12 energy. But even if you're not, there's still some really cool things coming through with the time that's being presented to me here, 11:12, only because the sun and the moon in Leo are occurring at 12 degrees, and they're moving towards the next new moon in Virgo, which will be occurring at 11 degrees, 11:11. The gates to this bitch are now wide open. The gates to the new earth are wide open for all of those who meet the frequential requirements. For those of you who have your passport, because you've done the work of ascension, you'll find that the new moon in Virgo is shifting you quite quickly into a material reality based upon the work you've put in, the karma you have resolved within yourself, the karmic debt you've given back to others that tried to transfer it onto you, the ability to come back into the wholeness of self and to hold on to those codes by being anchored in your truth. The new moon in Virgo is coming to help you materialize all of that in a very real way. And the new moon in Leo is kind of, Leo is like that trumpeter. Letting you know the gates are getting ready to be open. So let's get into the energy of this. So we have the 11:12 energy playing in this time as I'm seeing it, because like I said, new moon in Virgo is 11 degrees, new moon in Leo is happening 12:12. 12:12 is interesting because this is also telling you 11:11, new moon in Virgo, age of Aquarius. 12:12, 12 is a degree of Pisces. So we're closing out something to do with the Piscean age. Well, what are we doing? We're closing something out, but we're also taking stuff with us. What are we taking with us? We're taking the wisdom we've accrued. We don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater. Through the evolutionary process of the age of Pisces, we have learned a lot. We have learned a lot about karmic transference. We've learned a lot about the lowering of our own consciousness by giving away our authority to other beings to tell us how to live and what to do. We have learned valuable lessons. Without the Piscean age, we wouldn't have been able to rise into where we are now. It was not all bad. There was a lot of value that we must take forward on our evolutionary paths if we are to not get stuck in another karmic, loop as crazy as the ones that we're exiting out of, because karma is just natural. It's just a lesson. Sometimes we got to go around a few times because we need that lesson again. Our souls need to be woken up higher. There's nothing wrong with that. Where it becomes a problem is where we become so bound in a loop that we can't get out. Okay, so the age of Pisces and what they enacted through the false matrix on these earth planes was designed to keep us all stuck. And through the work of ascension, we've been liberating ourselves from every single layer of imprisonment, every single ring that they had us caught in. We've learned how to come back to the beginning and the ending, simultaneous beginning and ending. That 12 o'clock point, interesting, right? Because when you look at the 12:12 and you think about a clock, 12 o'clock is where a new minute begins, a new hour begins, a new second begins, if you're looking at it in milliseconds, the tiny little ass clocks, or a new day begins. So this new moon in Leo is showing us a new cycle is beginning. A new revolution has come, and with it, I was going to say revelation, with it is a lot of revelation that's coming through too, because you can't hide from the sun. Sorry, I've got my one of my beautiful creations, my son, in the background packing up. Okay, so I apologize. I just asked him to keep it down a little bit if that background noise was bothering you in any way, shape, or form. But we all got to get moving. We got to keep moving, right? So 12, new revolution, new day, new era, new earth, and the revelations that are necessary to kick out the old agendas that would continue to try to enforce their old ass way of doing things that have kept us stuck. There's more revelation. And the revelation is coming first and foremost because we're going to start seeing it more materially. We already are seeing it. It's becoming so fucking obvious to people. Like, I didn't watch the whole debacle with the Olympics opening, right? But I've been following these rituals they do on the stage at all of these award shows and everything for over a decade. So I haven't seen this one. I don't know if it's even more outlandish than before. I'm sure it is to a certain extent. I'm sure they're really pushing the boundaries right now in all ways. But I will say that I don't think it's so much that that they're pushing the boundaries, which I'm sure they are, but I think the bigger thing is that people are seeing past the illusion, and that's a beautiful thing if you look at it that way, that more people are seeing past the illusion. When I first began to tune into the occult symbolism, the programming that they were doing using ritual through their award shows, almost a decade ago now, if I went out and I started to talk about it to people, they would have looked at me, they did look at me, like I had 5 heads. I get that a lot. Nowadays, it's just like regular conversation on social media. People see it and they know. And that's because we have not only reached a higher level of consciousness since the 10 years ago when I first began to discover it, and again, I'm not the first one, people have been seeing this for decades. And if they told me 20 years ago that this was the case, I would have looked at them like they had 5 heads, because my consciousness wasn't expanded enough yet to see it either, you know? But collectively, we've reached a level of consciousness where we're able to see things more clearly, because we're able to discern ourselves more clearly. As we clear out the shit in our own energy fields, we're able to see everything externally more clearly. Okay, so that's actually what's happening right now, and the illusions are not holding up. I've been talking about this for over a year, how the grids of the new earth don't support these illusions that once were so easily anchored into the old world and lowered all of our consciousness. It doesn't work anymore. And so now we've entered into a time, tick tock, it's a brand new day, motherfuckers, on this here planet, okay? There's new management. I talked about this with the full moon in Capricorn. New moon in Leo is bringing in this energy even more strongly. The masters are returning, and when I say the masters, I'm not talking about a guru that you're supposed to look up to. Your guru is within yourself, and it's directly connected to source. I'm talking about the mastery that you have internally to lead yourself, that once upon a time you knew, but you lost through the fuckery of the matrix and all of the cycles you found yourself encumbered into. Your ability to reconnect to your mastery is back online. And I say that because the sun and the moon are both at 12 degrees of Leo, 3, but furthermore, at 33 minutes. Okay? So we got 3, 3, or 333 energy going on. Mastery. We also have the 3 speaks about the birthing of something and the moving of energy. It's a triangle. It's a triangle. Does that sound familiar? It's a triangle. And yes, triangles have been used to harm us and to trap us, to keep some at the top and others at the bottom. But triangles as a sacred symbol are actually there to get energy flowing. You can't, there's no shape before a triangle. A triangle is the beginning of it all in terms of geometric shapes in the 2D. Okay? Alrighty, let me take a sip. Furthermore, this 12 is connected to the Hanged One in the tarot. Okay, so Piscean degree at 12, Hanged One in the tarot. Hanged man, hanged woman, hanged one, however you want to see it. Okay, the Hanged Man, the Hanged One in the tarot is a card of Pisces that's actually more Neptunian in nature, and we're dealing with Neptune retrograding at closing degree of Pisces in this new moon. So we've got a lot of Neptunian undercurrents. Like how I did that, Neptunian undercurrents. For those of you who like astrology, Neptunian undercurrent themes are very prominent in this new moon energy. And what has that got to do? What does Neptune teach us? What is the medicine of Neptune? Neptune helps us to connect with higher octaves of love. Neptune helps us to activate our higher heart. Leo helps us to activate our heart, our solar plexus, but Neptunian energy helps us to access higher principles of love, higher consciousness, higher dimensional thinking. When it comes to love, when it comes to harmonious union with self, one another, the planets, the earth, it's through Neptune. The false matrix and all of its codexes, including, Many schools of astrology taught us that Neptune was a planet of illusion. And yes, you can get trapped in illusion, right? Through Neptunian principles, absolutely. But that is a very small part of what the planet Neptune is actually here to do. Okay, so the reason I'm saying that is because they wanted us to believe that the things that Neptune actually opens us up to are fantasy or illusion or too far-fetched. But Neptune is that planet that introduces you to this information on a heart level. Mercury introduces it to you in the mind level. So when you get an idea in your mind, it's easy to talk yourself out of it mentally, but you can't lie to your heart. You can't overwrite how you feel. Neptune is what connects you on a soul level. Your soul remembers this shit on a deep level. My soul remembers this. You're telling me that this doesn't exist, but my soul feels it. My soul knows it. And this is what this new moon in Leo is also about. Deep soul remembrance. You might be getting a lot of downloads about past timelines. You're closing out cycles right now, still through this Capricorn, double full moon in Capricorn energy, closing out a lot of karmic fuckery. And some of the stories that you've had with these beings might be becoming more clear to you. The details that you didn't have before might be becoming more clear. That would be through this Neptune retrograding at the very closing degree of Pisces, as Leo, the sun and the moon, meet in the constellation of Leo at a Neptunian degree. Okay, so a lot of heart activations, but higher heart activations coming through this gateway to help bring back a lot of soul remembrance, okay, which is also further initiating activation of all of these beautiful solar return codes, because as you remember who you are, you remember how you connect with the earth, how you replenish her, how you come into union with channeling her information and, connecting with nature, connecting with the minerals, the waters, the air. You get your soul remembrance back of your magic and how the love affair, the greatest love affair you actually came here to experience was with yourself and the earth. And then everything you have with everyone else is an extension. You came here to earth to evolve. Every love story that comes forth should be born of that love story you have with yourself on the earth and with her too. This is what this new moon in Leo is here to remind us. This 12-degree energy, the Hanged One, if you know the Hanged Man card in tarot, you'll know that's the card of the dude that's hanging upside down. Some people would say he's there by choice because he has chosen that he wants to see the world differently, right? That's one definition, and it's absolutely true. Because in order to see who we really are in the false matrix, we must turn ourselves upside down because we were living in a fucking inversion, where everything was back to front and inside out on purpose to keep you back to front and inside out, seeking answers externally instead of internally. Okay, so that's why the Hanged One, you have to do that. Now, the Hanged One is also the card that comes right after Justice. This is the card of sentencing also. So all of those crimes that beings have been thinking they've been committing against you, against your soul, against your mental, your emotional body, your spiritual truth, and in the material also, but especially on the spiritual, mental, and emotional planes, all of that stuff it's already been weighed out and balanced through the full moon in Capricorn. And now let's begin the process of justice flowing through. Okay, and we're going to see more of that through Libra season also, and especially through the full moon in Pisces that's occurring in September, which will be an eclipse. Okay, so and the eclipsing out of these energies that have tried to keep you stuck and blinded and enslaved, right? The eclipsing out of those out of your life for as long as you've done the work to eclipse them out of you internally. You can't fake ascension. You can't fake the healing. What you produce externally is always a result of what's internally happening. And the only reason these assholes were able to to continually dupe us and have us creating this way was because a lot of what they were doing was transferring and deferring their karma onto us and making us indebted to them while they were running off and living beautiful lives and not taking any fucking responsibility for who they were as creator beings also. And that day is over. That ship has sailed when you have decided who you are and you're taking personal responsibility for both your creative and your destructive nature, your light and your dark, your masculine and your feminine, and you're able to anchor yourself back in your truth, deal with your own karmic lessons, deal with yourself, see where you've been carrying the load for other beings that you weren't supposed to be carrying it, and give them back the responsibility so they are able to ascend to. Understand and overstand, when you give back a person the karma they've tried to put on you, it's actually an act of divine love, because they need that in order to learn the lessons from their own creations. We cannot ascend and overcome a karmic lesson until we deal with what created the karma to begin with, and we learn and we overcome. So all of this bullshit about transmuting other people's karma is false light bullshit that actually entraps beings further in that behavior that has them constantly negating their own divine path. Okay? We're not here to be transmuting anything on the behalf of any other being. We are here to set the scales aright. Firstly, within self. And then as we do that, we anchor that in the earth, and we are able then to do it one to another. Okay, so this is what the new moon in Leo is bringing us back, the remembrance of how all of this works, because we were royally mind fucked. Royally, like that Leo tip, royalty. We were royally mind fucked. And this new moon in Leo is coming to royally unfuck our minds. Okay, so new moon in Leo is coming to royally unfuck your mind and your heart, okay? But especially these programs, because even yesterday I was sitting down and my guides were speaking to me, and my guides are just interdimensional versions of myself, okay, I'm still integrating. But either way, my guides are talking to me, and they were speaking to me about how this idea of forgiveness is bullshit. And I say that as a person who was a born-again Christian, and spent a whole lot of my time being a people pleaser and a person who allowed beings to just walk all over me. I was a scapegoat. I allowed beings to put their karmic responsibility on me, and I carried it like a champ. In fact, it almost took me out many times, because that's how much people thought they could put on me. And not just people, groups, corporations, all manner of beings and entities. And I give you back your shit to take fucking karmic responsibility. I am not your mule. I am not your scapegoat. Not anymore. So anyway, this whole idea of forgiveness, it comes through the Judeo-Christian or the Abrahamic religions especially, but it's actually designed to keep us stuck, feeling guilty for rising and empowering ourselves and giving people back what belongs to them and calling ourselves into balance, okay? And I'm not saying you're supposed to hold hostility in your heart towards anyone, because that will weigh you down too, but I am saying you are not here to take on something that doesn't belong to you because another being does not have the balls, the multi-dimensional cojones to be able to face up to themselves. Okay, and a lot of the time, forgiveness is coercive in order to keep a cycle going and keep people not taking responsibility for what they've done, and keep the ones who they're harming stuck in that perpetual cycle with them. And that is not how things are supposed to go. When we do that, we don't only hurt ourselves and one another, we hurt the earth herself, who is also channeling all of our pain and our illusion and our lack of harmony and our discord. Okay, so we're closing this out. Okay, the 12 energy, it's speaking about the flipping of the inversion, and we are with the sun in Leo. That means that everything is extra bright right now. You can't hide from the sun. Okay, you cannot hide from the sun. Okay, so Everything is extra bright right now on in order to begin the exposure of the inversions that exist within ourselves still, the way we're still seeing things back to front. Like I said yesterday, I had that revelation about forgiveness because it's something I've battled with. I've talked about it a lot. I don't believe in coercive forgiveness. I do believe to some extent you need to quote unquote forgive because you have to let beings go and you have to cut the cords in order for you to move on and for them to move on too. You know, but I wouldn't call that forgiveness. You know, that word itself, it's been distorted and fucked with in order to mess with us and to mind fuck us royally. And what is this new moon in Leo doing? What is it doing? Oh yes, it's coming to unfuck our minds. Okay, so the sun and the moon, 12 degrees. The flip, not only the inversion has already been flipped. It was flipped a long time ago, but now we're seeing it happen in real time. We're seeing it happen within ourselves. There's even a flipping of things within our energy bodies and our fields that supported the fake geometric templates that kept this the false matrix alive. And this is what I believe all of these solar flares are about. All of the ways they try to lock our DNA into these false geometric sequences so that we wouldn't be able to move and evolve past the 70 years that they assigned us, right? And they told us that was so good. 70 years, they said in the Bible, was good, right? After we done read about the fuckers who lived for hundreds of years, and Elijah, he didn't even die. He just, you know, hitched a ride back out of this place, right? And so, but now, because we're evolving somehow, but devolving at the same time, now 70 years is a really wonderful amount of time to be alive. Bullshit. Bullshit. They programmed your DNA to deactivate. They programmed your DNA even to go through processes like menopause. All of this stuff was lunar manipulation. You are a fucking computer and you have been programmed into your own destruction and dysfunction, genetically speaking. And that's what all of the bullshit of the past few years was about. Okay? Was about trying to prevent the inevitable, because these DNA activations are coming through even for some of those who did the thing, you know, who took the you know what. It's still coming through for some of them because it was never an issue of chemicals, it was an issue of consciousness. And some beings, their own consciousness, once they woke up and realized, can overwrite that shit. There is nothing that they can put into your body or can enter into your reality that you, an intelligent, multidimensional, infinite being, don't have the solution for. And that's what they don't want you to know. Okay? Anyway, this is what the new moon in Leo is showing also, is illuminating and lighting the fuck up out of also. Okay? How much of, how you are your own savior. You are the sun. The Son of God they were talking about that was coming on the clouds to save you, it is you. It was always you. Yes? Si? Comprende? I'm getting all bilingual now. Whew. Let me take a breath. And let me take a sip. Alrighty. Let me see if there are any more messages coming through. At 33 minutes, I look at the clock. For the sun and the moon. Whew. Alrighty, let's get into Mercury. What's Mercury speaking to us? So Mercury has just entered Virgo a few days ago and is getting ready, I think on the day after the new moon, August the 5th, to station to go into the retrograde period, right? So when Mercury stations to go retrograde, I believe it will still be at 4 degrees, which is really interesting because this number of 4 shows you that something is being established. That's what 4 means. It means something is being established. And now, as Mercury does, with Mercury every 4 times a year, as we come up to the end of a season, or we should say as we get closer to the end of a cycle, and for every year it's going to be different when that cycle is, depending on what side Mercury is retrograding through and where that sign is, etc. in the calendar. But 4 times a year Mercury retrogrades. in order to put us into alignment. Mercury is our access to universal or the cosmological information. The library of the cosmos we access through Mercury. We have access to everything that is in existence through Mercury, you could say. Gemini gives us the access, and Virgo shows us how to distill it for our purposes. I will always use the analogy when dealing with Mercury as it expresses itself through Gemini and Virgo, that Mercury is a grand cosmological library. Gemini is your library pass. You get access to all that fucking information. But if you don't have Virgo, that old librarian who knows how to walk you through everything and take you to the information that is pertinent to you, as well as all of the cross references, then really you don't have anything. So you need both Gemini and Virgo to help direct that mercurial energy. So Mercury right now is in Virgo, in the sign that is its domicile. Right? So we have Mercury in Virgo. And like I said, Virgo energy is here to help us get a hold of the information we need mentally in order to distill it for our own individual purposes, and also align ourselves with our heart's truth, which therefore then takes that information and makes it wisdom through experience, through like our own personal grappling with it. That's what Virgo helps us to do. It helps us to really get to the core of what we need in order to prosper, in order to be secure in ourselves. That's what the Virgo energy does. So Mercury at 4 degrees is anchoring that truth back into us. And one thing I neglected to touch on is with the moon in Leo, we have slight eclipse energies happening also. So for me, when I see the moon in Leo, full moon, new moon, it doesn't matter. It has eclipse-like qualities because we have a lunar association within the sign that is ruled by the sun. And you could even say the sun in Cancer is a whole season where there's very strong eclipse-like energies also in a different way than the moon in Leo, which I won't get into right now. But the moon in Leo always feels very, very much like mini eclipse energy to me also. So be aware that the themes around eclipse is, the things that need to happen, that need to leave, that need to exit, that need to enter in order for harmony to come back, and also to put you in higher alignment with North Node living. So not only do we have Mercury in Virgo at 4 degrees, we have it happening at 4 minutes. So we got 4-4 energy. We got the Divine Mother telling us that in this process of the transference processes that must now happen on the world materially, we are safe. We are safe within ourselves, we are safe within our value, and we are safe for as long as we are honoring our own daily rituals, habits, the things that we need on an individual level to continue to feel secure in ourselves, to feel connected to ourselves, connected to the earth. Okay, so the remembrance is coming back in, and as the remembrance of that comes in, we're becoming more rooted in it through this energy. And then Mercury is going to start retrograding back through Leo in order to also help us to reconnect with some of the wisdom and the information that already came through Cancer season and Leo season. Those heart activations we were going through, the purging of certain emotional stories, the reckoning and the recognition with certain wounds that were still binding us, especially maternal ones, family. There's been a lot of heart clearing through Cancer season and Leo season, as there is every year, but it's been hype this year, right? And Mercury is helping us to now integrate a lot of what it is that we've been going through this retrograde season, so that by the time the sun moves into Virgo and Mercury moves out of retrograde, we are able now to embody these lessons. They're not just floating or things that we think or we feel, but we're not able to embody. So the reason why a lot of these activations and these clearings were happening was because you were waking up and you were realizing, fucking A, I deserve more than this. a lot of you, I deserve more than this, or I deserved more than what happened and caused me to be at this stage in life. Fuck it, I deserve more than this. You know, so there's a lot of waking up of stories around self-worth and how much we've been robbed of that through the company we've kept, through the decisions we've made, through the cycles we've been stuck in. And there's the clearing of there's the processing, the recognition, the clearing of those wounds, and now through Virgo season, we're going to learn how to embody that sense of worth and value that we've been waking up to. It's one thing to know it. Wait, I deserve more. It's another thing to feel the pang and the pain of accepting less. And it's another thing altogether now to walk and to live and act in ways where you just won't accept what is beneath your value and what is beneath your ability to feel in righteous alignment with yourself and your truth. And this is what Mercury is helping us with, through not just through this new moon in Leo, is activating it in a very big way, but through retrograde, and also as the sun moves through Virgo later on and Mercury joins Virgo again also. Venus is expressing herself through the 29 degree of Leo, which means Venus is also having a rendezvous at Regulus, the fixed star of Regulus, the star of royalty, the star that actually chooses those who have aligned enough frequentially to have the maturity, humility, balance, consciousness that enables them to be guardians of wisdom, guardians of resources. That was assigned once upon a time, before the Matrix came with its karmic transference and fuckery games. That was assigned by the star Regulus. It's why we call it the star of royalty. And Venus is, I believe, is now visible again in the sky as the evening star. So one of the first visible stars, it will appear as a very bright star in the sky. You will see as the sun sets will be Venus right now. Okay, so Venus in Leo at 29 degrees. Venus, as I've said many times before, is a planet that helps us to return to the divine feminine principles of pleasure. Divine principles of pleasure, not, egoic, lustful pursuits of pleasure. Okay? Divine pleasure is there to satisfy your soul. And when your soul is satisfied, every area of your life is fulfilled. And when every area of your life is fulfilled because your soul is pleasured and satisfied by the choices you're making and how you're living, then the earth herself becomes this pleasure playground, divinely aligned pleasure playground that she was always designed to be. She is a woman. The earth is a woman. A woman is a conduit for pleasure. Now, they took that in the false matrix and they fucked that, distorted it, created all of their lust programs, and degraded the feminine energy. They knew what they were doing. Remember, we're living on an inversion, and we're flipping that back around. And this is also speaking about the rise of the divine feminine energy back into her royal position. And this is not negating masculine energy, because the truth of the matter is Leo is a masculine sign. But it is saying that the feminine energy is the leading energy that everything is created from. So the masculine energy cannot rise until the feminine energy does. And then they must rise together in balance, because the feminine energy needs the masculine and the masculine energy needs the feminine. Again, the matrix inverted that and put women beneath men to keep their inversion and perversion going. But let me say that again, because we must take responsibility for everything. It's not like everything is just, beautiful. The feminine energy creates everything, including distortions and destruction and dysfunction. What you give the feminine energy, she will grow and magnify. So the distorted masculine, toxic masculine energy that we like to hear so much about would not be possible without the toxic, distorted feminine energy from which it was birthed and sustained by. So there's equal responsibility for both energies, and there's equal reverence and rising for the two of them too. Okay? And when I say feminine and masculine, I'm not talking about gender. Although through gender we express that energy physically. I'm talking about the feminine energy of creation that multiplies and magnetizes and multiplies what it magnetizes on an energetic template. And the masculine energy takes from that multiplication and puts it out into the world electrically. You are an electromagnetic being. Okay, so you call in things, your energy field discerns it, grows it, spits it out, whatever it's going to do with the energy. The masculine energy takes out the command, whether it's to take it out and multiply it or to take it out and put an end to it. Okay? So this Venus in Leo at 29 degrees, it's the rising of the feminine, the rising of the divine feminine principles, of the divine feminine leadership principles also. And in the way this might materialize is those beings who are here to bring back the divine feminine, those speakers, orators, writers, creators who are actually in alignment and aren't just trying to use her to make a few gold coins, like so many of them are, with all of their fucking like white backgrounds and all of their plants, and they haven't done any of the fucking shadow work. They just want to use her again to put out a persona in the world that's trendy and brings them in coins. That kind of thing is going to start becoming more obvious. For some of us, it always was the pretenders, right? But more importantly, we don't want to give them too much stage. More importantly, those beings that are here to actually advocate for the divine feminine principles that keep the earth in harmony and order by the way they live, think, feel, act, and interact with other beings in truth, not just on the screen, right? Those are the beings right now who are being elevated. And they're being elevated because it's time. They are the ones who have been shadow banned, silenced, shamed, ridiculed, pushed into corners and hermit mode by the old world and these false light feminine agendas that were there also to prolong the fuckery of the false matrix. Let the true royalty, let the cream rise to the top now. Okay? And that's not me being elitist or being funny, it's me being real, because frequency is real. You cannot fake frequency. You can put on makeup, you can pretend to be something you're not, you can say the right words, you can create the right ambiance, you can hang out with the right people, know the right people, go to the right places. But if your heart ain't right, if you're not in alignment with source truth, if your heart isn't here to actually harmonize the grids, then you're not doing anything but playing around in energy that you can't even handle. And that's what's about to happen for some of these beings. They wanted to play around in energies that they can't handle. And I say that because in order to be able to do what it is that they're pretending to do, you must be on such good grounds with your own shadow. Your shadow must be your best friend, and you must know how to wield the power of your darkness and your light. And these beings are still afraid of their shadows. Their shadows are still trapped in basements. They don't finish transferring their shadow onto other beings so that they can transmute that shit for them and they can live their life and pretend. And that shit is coming to a close. Okay? Whew. Mars in Gemini, Jupiter in Gemini. Mars in Gemini. Mars is here to pull the wool off eyes in Gemini. Mars in Gemini at 9 degrees. This is a degree of liberation. It is a Sagittarian degree astrologically, and it's connected to the Hermit card in the tarot. So this is about liberation. What is Mars liberating? Well, it's in Gemini. So that's all about the mind. In the tarot, the minor arcana cards of Gemini are the 8, 9, and 10 of swords. The way that over time, games, gaslighting, power tactics, things designed to disempower others, puts them in these mental cages where they literally become afraid or controlled by fear. And when you're controlled by fear, you're easily controlled externally, which is why in the false matrix they wanted our consciousness pulled down to constantly cycling through the vibration of fear, guilt, and shame, so we would be easily puppeteered. Okay, that's why in all abuse narratives, abusers will drag their targets into being ashamed of themselves, fearing them, feeling guilty for being empowered and living in all those things so that they can control their narrative. Okay, it happens on all levels. And Mars at 9 degrees Gemini, that's 8 of Swords energy. This is the removing of the blinders that have been designed to mind control. To mind fuck. Remember I said to you, what was this new moon in Leo about? Oh yes, the unfucking of the mind. Mars is here, making sure that happens too. Warring on behalf of our mental bodies to be able to once again use our minds as they were designed to be used. Our minds were not designed for us to use them to overwrite our own hearts and soul purposes. Our minds were not designed for us to use them diabolically to hurt ourselves and others. And Mars is here fighting for us to get our minds back. To get our minds back. And Jupiter is there too, opening our minds. Sagittarius, Jupiter is the planet that co-rules Sagittarius. So again, that expansive Sagittarian energy is coming through both planets that are in Gemini right now. And of course, Sagittarius is Gemini's sister sign. Okay, so liberation of the mind. And then Jupiter also is the planet that that rewards and gives back in accordance with what Saturn rules, in accordance with your ability to either rise out of the cycle and learn the lesson or continue to be stuck. And then Jupiter comes and rewards accordingly. So right now, the focus is those of us who are able, those of you who are able to tune into the true expansiveness of your mind and to use your mind to direct you where you need to go in accordance with your heart's truth. The rewards are going to start coming for you more and more as you're able to do that. To use your own mind to write the story that you deserve as opposed to the story that's been written for you or the story that other energies are still trying to write. And they're still trying to write it, you'll know, because this is why you feel down and out. This is why you feel downcast. This is why you feel hopeless. That's not your mind. You are not designed to be without hope. How can you be without hope when you're an infinite being? So anytime you feel that way, you can know that's an intrusion of an external energy trying to author you, trying to write your story. And so the rewards that are coming right now are for those of you who know how to overwrite the access that these other energies constantly try to have over you, and to constantly use your own mind to create the reality that you know you deserve even before it's there, in the midst of situations and circumstances that might be despairing because they're designed to fuck with you and your ability to know what it is you deserve, because we're dealing still with self-worth, Mercury and Virgo, these self-worth stories. It doesn't matter if you think you deserve something. Do you think you deserve it enough to fight for it, Mars and Gemini? Do you think you deserve it enough to change the trajectory of your entire mind to align with it? Because if you think you deserve it, then that's already in your heart. Can you upgrade your mind to come into coherence with your heart and therefore create materially? It will become inevitable. When the mind and the heart are in alignment, it becomes inevitable that what they're in alignment with, you create. Okay? So a lot of mental and emotional body integration, recalibration, activation, preparing us for a Libra season where a lot of this is going to become more pronounced in accordance with your ability to play with it now. You know? Okay, I'm going to close up now. You know, we've got the same story. Saturn is retrograding in Pisces, you know, so Saturn is presenting those receipts. And here's the thing about this Saturnian energy. Saturn has all the receipts for all the karmic returns, karmic transferences. Nothing gets by Saturn, but Saturn cannot present the receipts for things that you don't want to give back. So for example, if you're still dealing with karmic fuckery, but you refuse to acknowledge your part in it, you refuse to acknowledge the actual scenario that's going on, you can't ask Saturn to bring karmic justice. Saturn has the receipts and is waiting for you to do it for yourself. And when you do it for yourself, Saturn comes in and boosts that effort. But for those beings who are so freaking dead set right now on being in alignment, Saturn is here giving the receipts of everything you've lost, because you don't even realize half the things you've lost. You know a little bit, but Saturn, like I said, Saturn has all the receipts. Okay? Uranus is still making its way through Taurus, okay? Bringing forth new life into these false systems, and I shouldn't say bringing new life onto the earth that has been lost through these false systems that have depleted us, okay, through this Taurus energy. So prepare this month of August to see some real interesting things on the world stage in terms of the systems that have been supporting the fuckery. Stay tuned and watch. Okay, we already spoke about Neptune. Pluto is retrograding at that 0 degree of Aquarius. We have a portal happening here, birthing canal. What we're going to be going through right now as beings is going to be completely in accordance with what it is we've been able to do. Where are you on a frequency? Where are you going to be landing in this Aquarian age? Where are you going to be? It's going to be all in accordance with what it is you believe and what it is that you have transcended and done in order to come into balance with that belief. If that belief is real and you've done the work to align your heart with it, then you'll be walking in it. But beings who are holding on to beliefs that aren't real, this is a lot of the time where especially if other beings that they've been depending upon to hold up that illusion for them are no longer walking with them. This is a time where a lot of them will not be able to live in that illusion anymore, because they are they were already out of heart and mind coherence, and then on top of it, a lot of them are trying to transfer the karma of their own imbalances onto other beings, and those beings are like, fuck you, I ain't holding your shit for you anymore, you better come get this stuff. You done had your things in my storage facility for about 1,500 years. Time for you to get your shit. Okay, so North Node, Aries, it's 9 degrees. Again, I'm going to end here, but that 9 degree energy, it's a degree of liberation. It's a Sagittarius degree astrologically, just like Mars and Gemini. And of course, Mars is, Aries ruler. 9 degrees Aries, North Node. Very powerful Mars energy of liberation, getting ourselves in order. 9 is connected to the Hermit energy, Virgo energy, getting back our self-worth, embodying it, breaking the mind control, pulling the wool over the eye, pulling the wool off of the eyes, the third eye especially, and all of the other eyes that exist in your system. Okay, so anyway, that's where I'm going to leave it. I am taking some time off SUBSTACK, like I said, until August 12th. And I will be back here for the new full moon in Aquarius reading in about 2 weeks. For those of you who are interested, I will be doing another tarot astrology group. I will post that on the community board. For those of you who are interested in getting tarot astrology written reports, not the readings, the written reports, and that's something you really have had your heart set on, please know that in the next couple of months, I probably won't be writing those anymore. They take a lot out of me, and I was supposed to stop writing them earlier on this year, but then I took a hiatus from them, and I've had people come to me recently wanting them, and so I am doing them, but I'm coming to a point where I probably will not offer the written reports. The readings, yes, but the written reports. So if that is something you really wanted, the written report is your, what I call a full rebirth, where I go through your 12 main placements, and it's about, most of the time it ends up being about a 40-page book of you, okay? Your cosmological truth and everything that is streamed on a personal level through your chart, much like I just did this. So if you're interested in that, please let me know. I probably will stop taking orders for them in general sometime in September. And there may be a wait list depending on when you come to me. So please know I'm phasing that out. So if that's something you really wanted to do, please drop me an email, solar@solar.info or dailyalkhemy@gmail.com. And please, if ever you email me and you don't hear back from me, please just send me another email, because there's been a lot of fuckery of disappearing emails. I've seen it happen with my own eyes. I'm on my phone, I see an email come through, I go on my computer to respond, it's not even there, okay? And it's happened a few times, okay? So if I don't get back to you, please just assume that I haven't read it. And yes, I take my time sometimes, but most of the time when you email me, I will get back to you within 3 to 5 days. If you haven't heard from me, it's because I haven't seen your message. Okay, so what else? I think that's it for now. I'm going to get ready and get going. I wish you guys a beautiful, beautiful golden new moon in Leo. I wish you a beautiful 888 portal. When I have that solar return decree ready on my Ko-Fi shop, I will let you know on the community board. It's a wonderful one to do in the season of Leo, but especially around this portal. And if you get it, you'll see why. And as always, I will say, I give you my words. There's power in them, but you are the one. You are the magician ultimately. And also, you can utilize my templates to create your own decrees, which actually it's more powerful because you're putting your energy into creation, okay? But again, because of who I am and my codes, when I write these decrees, there is a lot of power behind them, absolutely, but not as much as when it comes from you and when you speak it over yourself. So understand and overstand always that you've always been the strongest person on your team, always, okay? And that's an important thing to know, this new moon in Leo, because there have been so many beings who try to enter into your life and try to make it seem as if they're supposed to be your coach and your captain and your guru and your this and your that, and it's just like, nope, you've always been the strongest contender on your own team. Okay, so I'm sending you so much love. I will see you again soon. Take care.